Hey guys, Spartan here, welcome back to Odin Sphere. Yeah. Bit of an improvement over the last episode because I changed something apparently, but yeah, I don't know exactly what I did. So yep, this is basically just the hub world, I guess you could call it, even though it's not really a world. Still have yet to figure out how to open my stat screen. I mean, I know you can pause and see your stats, but I swear there was a faster way to see that. Or maybe I'm mistaken because the original game had it. And, yeah, you can talk to some NPCs, they don't really have that much useful information, except for this guy kind of does. What's the talk button? It's X.
What? Griselda's dead because she rushed ahead of the main forces. It's certainly not because I was late to the battle.
Lord Brigand. He may be one of our nation's heroes, but I hear he acts as he wishes because my father does nothing to stop him.
This guy is plot relevant. Pretty sure no one else is not doing that listen thing. This character is also plot relevant, so yes.
Princess Gwendolyn, I am worried about you. Please stay strong.
Thank you, Miras.
I shall bring some tea up to your room later.
Yes, this game has rabbit people, for a very good reason, and this is a store.
I'm a traveling vendor who has been allowed to sell in this castle. Is there anything you need?
The stores at the start of the game have pretty much nothing like you want to buy. There's this, which recovers 100 HP, even though you can't see it because of the stupid dazzle cutoff, which I cannot fix, by the way. It just straight up does not detect that part of the screen for some reason. I don't know why. Just shoddy craftsmanship, I tell you. And yes, I cannot edit the screen region, so it just does that. The bottom of the screen region is at the thing. Like, the screen region fits perfectly into the bloody video. Also, back in the old days, you had to hit X twice there, for some reason, just to confirm.
We're moving out now. Inform the troops. Griselda. So you're going to battle in order to win your father's love. That's not true. I'm fighting for my kingdom and my own pride. I may fall in battle, but that is a fate all our countrymen face. Don't try to hide the truth from me. You seek death so that you may earn the love you so desperately seek. Quiet! I am but a phantom. I represent your innermost thoughts. I am pathetic. I've never been loved since the day I was born. Giving your life for your father will not make your death worthwhile. You will simply die, like Griselda died. Stop it! If I sacrifice myself for my duty, Father will surely show his love for me. Surely.
You thought this game was about fantasy and love lives? No, it's about fighting off depression. Well, I guess half the game is. I don't know. So you have a mission, which is basically, what's the map button in this game again? I don't know. And this shine on the ground, which you can get for 1 penny. I should really rebind those controls. Is triangle still the inventory button? I'll figure it out eventually. Or I'll do it off screen. I mean, I can cut this stuff out. So something I wanted to discuss in the last video, as you can tell, this game is 2 dimensions. But back in the old, original game, this game's, like, what axis is it called? Like, the upward axis, was very slim. You used to be able to only double jump up to it and you would reach the cap. And you couldn't double jump as high as you could in the original game. I really need to get some skills in this game. So yeah, the game seems, like, boring at the start because you don't have many, yes, I know about guard breaks. You don't have, like, any abilities at the start, but you will get them, like, fairly quickly. Number of items in possession. You can hold up to 32 items in your bag. Back in the original game, yeah, certain items are stored separately up to 9. Back in the original game, you only had 16 slots. I'm just going to skip this. Score rank rewards. I've already explained this. Blah, blah, blah. Close this. Back in the original game, you only had 16 slots. And that was different from what this is, because... Okay, how this game, like, has inventory, you have these two, Mandragoras and Seeds, which do not count as inventory slots, and you can hold up to 9 of each of these, so you can essentially have, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 63 Seeds, and, 45 Mandragoras, so that's already, like, over 100 slots that you've added that don't count as your inventory. In the base game, you only had 16 slots, and Mandragoras and Seeds counted, so, yes, you would have very, very little room in your inventory. Why is L1 not the map button? Jump cut. Well, I found out what I was doing wrong. I didn't have the skill list equipped. It's now bound to triangle, so I can hold L2 to see the map. And this map also shows difficulty of battles and what is in areas. So if you see a chest in an area and you haven't reached it yet, just go there and get it. It's usually worth your time. Butterflies, hold R1 when you are nearby to get phosons. So, yes, they had this in the base game, except it was completely random and only showed up in fights. But back in the original game, there was only bloody fights, fight areas, or shops. I'm pretty sure there was no areas like this, because there was no platforming in the original game. This game gives an alchemy tutorial later. I'll just wait until then to use it. I'm pretty sure I don't need health, but I'll just get some extra experience, I might as well. Also, something interesting is that food increases your max HP when eaten. Back in the original game, it did not. It gave you experience and restored your health, but it just did not, it didn't increase your max health when just eating it. There's a good reason why it does that in this game, because I'll go more into depth about that later, because I would be explaining mechanics that have not been introduced yet at this stage of the game. And there's just me repeatedly using the exact same combo over and over again, because some attacks are fairly underpowered at this stage of the game. Also, you'll see me block exactly 0 times. Okay, I will block a bit, but not very frequently, because blocking is not that important when you can effectively stun lock enemies. So, this basic attack is just like the basic mash square combo, and you can remove the cooldown on that by, like, example, you can only use that once while in the air, and then you can't use it again. But if you use a attack that kind of links them together, like this, the dash attack that I'm repeatedly using. Text add to archive, pause if you want to see it. So yeah, as you can see, I'm doing that normal combo. You can't combo in the air. And then do that, because that resets the cooldown, which allows you to stun lock enemies fairly easily. So as you will have noticed, the healing tonic has H as its, like, the letter on it. There is a potion for every single letter of the alphabet, and you will be seeing all of them in action most likely, except for Z. Z is, like, very useless. It only... I mean, it does let you get better loot most often, but yeah, it's kind of useless because... Oh wow, I got the potion reward for this actual, like, mid-area as a random drop from an enemy. So enemies in this game drop stuff as it makes sense. Eventually they just start dropping, like, money all over the place. Back in the original game, you had to do a dash, like a ground attack, in order to have a chance of your opponents actually dropping something. I guess it's like a stealing mechanic. And no, I do not want to plant any seeds or anything, because I don't need them right now, and I'd rather use this stuff, because, spoiler alert, those phosons are both used to upgrade your weapon and, well, or your health, so it's kind of like, do you want to go glass cannon build, or like super tank build, or like a mixture of stuff? I prefer the glass cannon build, because there is a trick in this game to be effectively invincible by using a glass cannon build. These soldiers are completely useless. They don't even plot relevant. What do you have here?
I could charge extra since this is a battlefield, but it's very dangerous. I could have 9 lives and it still wouldn't be enough. I'll make you a deal.
These people are the exact same vendors from the first game. So I could buy an area map, but it's fairly useless because every single place you go to here, like, there is always, like, somewhere on this map that will drop an area of, like, a map that reveals the area. Is this a boss fight, or is this a tutorial? No, this is a tutorial of Cypher skills. So, yeah, each area contains one of these chests somewhere, mostly hidden, and you get a new skill whenever you find one. You also get a new skill at the end of every chapter. So, I've obtained a Frozen Prism. This first ability you will see me using very infrequently. You have acquired Ice Shot. Acquire Frozen skill whenever you obtain a Frozen Prism. You can use Frozons to raise skill levels. We all know this. Well, I do. This concludes the tutorial. So I am actually going to upgrade my Cypher, I believe. How many Frozons do I have? I have 25. This increases your max PP, which is what you use to use certain abilities, and just ups your basic attack. And you get more boosts the more you upgrade things. And this is how you use them, which you probably don't need to know because you won't be using them unless you play this game. From the skill activation menu, which is R2, I swear I rebound this to triangle. Activating Ice Shot consumes the PP gauge. You can replenish it by absorbing Frozons, blah blah blah. You can make a shortcut with square. Do I need to use this? No, I think I need to use this. So that would be yes, I need to use this. Spartan, you idiot! You've only started this Let's Play and you're already sounding incredibly stupid. Yep, this is a mid-boss stage. So, yep. What am I going to do here? No, I did not mean to do something there. Okay, so the skill menu... Let me just go on a little rant here. The skill list is R2, but skill is triangle. I'm going to swap these two around because I am never going to be using them this way. Back in the original game, you pressed triangle to open up the skill menu, and you chose something from there. And each character only had 6 abilities. In this game, you have, like, tons. So Ice Shot is a decent ability. It does freeze enemies, or inflict slow on them if they're, like, a boss or something. I'll be grabbing these items here. Oh, that is not good. So, bosses in this game are a lot harder than they were in the original game, and by that I mean they have a lot more abilities. Well, actually, they're not necessarily harder, but their AI has definitely been increased. Also, bosses can be Stunlocked, but... You see that little bar at the bottom there, the orange bar that's being depleted? That is their stagger bar. When that reaches 0, they will stagger and you can Stunlock them for a bit. So you can basically pull off ridiculous combos like I just pulled off there. And this is saying use a potion because they're useful. I'll use a Cyclone because Cyclones are the weaker of the other enemies. You can't see their stats because of the stupid cutoff, but trust me, Cyclone is the weakest one. Cyclone was the original Cypher skill in the base game, which Gwendolyn started off with. And I believe that the second character also started off with it. I don't remember though, I have not played the original in a fair amount of time because the leifthrasir edition is just basically a lot better than the original, for many reasons. One of the main reasons is going to be that the first boss of this stage was just unfair. And I can tell what attack the AI is doing. Oh, or is it not? God damn it. I'm just playing really clumsily here. Yes, Dizzy is totally a threatening effect. I should not be mocking Dizzy, because later on it does get very dangerous. What is this Unicorn Knight doing over here? Oh wow, my HP is kind of low. Let me just back roll a bit here. And use healing. No reason to go gung-ho, because I will be having a lot of potions and probably not using many of them. Because I'm like a miser. Also, these guys drop a decent amount of Frozons when they die because they're bosses. So, don't feel like too stingy with your abilities, because they'll most likely just refresh after the fight. Excavation guide. Now, this is very useful. Blah blah blah, flows on prisms are hard to find, etc, etc. Search everything, I know exactly where they are, so yeah. Find keys to unlock doors, of course, because like Gauntlet. There's another part to that you find later on in the game, and there's actually equipment in this game. Back in the original game, equipment did not get stats, so this says max HP 10% up, but it also grants 2 defense. Defense was not a stat in the original game, you just straight up had only the items that actually benefited you, like the Vampiric Ring, which was like one of the top tier. You know what? No, the Jupiter Bangle was the top tier item because it increased your damage by 30%, and then it got absolutely terrible in leifthrasir edition. I'm pretty sure the Vampiric Ring is just literally the best item in leifthrasir edition because it gives you like some percentage of the damage you deal to your health, and when you have stunlocking abilities or capabilities, you can essentially keep yourself fully healed most of the time. It does increase the damage you take, I believe, but yeah. And there is a chest up here. You can use your up attack to get yourself some extra airtime if you need it, but most of the time you don't need it. I swear there was another chest somewhere here. Could be wrong, though. Could be very wrong. So many elves. So yeah, here it's saying use Volcano because it's like a really good thing. You can see up the top there the effects of the volcano, like up in the mini-map up there. Volcano's original name was Napalm in the original. It did the exact same thing, except it was like a bit different. Back in the original game, your potions could damage you as well. Cultivating fruit. How to defend yourself against fresh fruit. Mulberry bears 2 fruits. Muggle bears fruit with a seed. Try grapes and then use apples. That's basically the progression of the fruit in this game. Filthy muggles. So where am I going? I'm going to get into a habit of pressing L1 to try and open the map, because that's what the map was in the original game. But L2 is kind of useful. I mean, I prefer L2 because there's no stats menu. And there's a piece of equipment here, so I'm going to go here. And it's another mid-boss. Let me guess. 3 Unicorn Knights. I should probably use some of these items, except... yeah, I predict that my inventory is going to get filled up exponentially. So back in... if you're playing this on any... oh, wow. Let me just flee for a second and heal. If you're playing this on an easy difficulty, the bosses succumb to status effects, like, more easily. And these elven archers are, like, incredibly dangerous, despite the fact that they seem incredibly flimsy. They're like glass cannons. It's like me! So, you can see on the minimap down the bottom right where the Unicorn Knight is. Where is he? There he is. Let me just backwards dodge. By the way, the reason Dizzy is not staying around for very long, because you'd think that as a status effect it would be more prominent than what it seems to be. The reason for that is that, I don't think the game tells you this, but Dizzy can be mitigated by swiveling the left analog stick around, which I only know because it was the exact same thing back in the original game. I need to realize that I need to press L1 because back in the original game, dodging was not a thing. So basically, dying in this game is like very minimally punishing, much like the original game. Except back in the original game, all the fights were incredibly hard, so there was a reason for that. Let me just use more of these potions. I'm going to get more of them eventually. There'll be a time when I pretty much won't need potions at all. Wow, that was fair. Then again, this game was supposedly very hard. And maybe it is still hard on hard mode, but, you know, I originally played this game on normal mode when I first got leifthrasir edition. So maybe I'm not used to it. I could totally just cheese this by getting him down to stagger thresholds with this combo. And when he stands up, I'm going to start comboing him. Oh, I forget, dive attack knocks them to the ground, so that does not work. Really need to use these skills more, but Ice Shot is fairly weak. Its only saving grace is the fact that it's a freeze attack. So it has slight more use. I'm trying to use my skills and attacks in combination with stuff to dodge attacks. I rolled when I should have capitalized. I'm surprised that the Unicorn Knight is not using his like super dash attack. So Ice Shot is a homing attack. Okay, that's a W Whirlwind Potion. So... oh, I forgot, I need to use the dash attack. The Whirlwind Potion is perhaps the most overpowered and broken potion in this entire game. I'll probably use it against the next mini-boss, or maybe against the... nah, probably not against the actual boss of the stage, because the actual boss of the stage is immune to stunlocking. But yes, Whirlwind is incredibly overpowered. And by that I mean very overpowered. I should probably eat this food, because I don't need that much of healing. You know what, I'll grow some more since I have, like, none. Let's equip this. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know. I'm not really paying attention to how much phosons I lose from my weapon because it doesn't matter. Back in the original game, when you absorb phosons into your weapon, you could not release them except with a specific skill, which actually cost 1 phoson bar, which is like... the mana cost of using abilities in the original game was a lot different than the original. This is a rest area. I forgot that you're supposed to go to this area over here first, because this contains another ability. One that I will be using not very frequently, but it has its uses. Yeah, you can see on the minimap there's an area up here. Come on, get up there. And this is where the actual one that you find is. The first one was a tutorial one, doesn't count. And this is the other type of skill. Well, there are actually technically 3 types, but this is the one that I'll be using a lot more often. This is Beak Dive. This is a move that consumes power, which will automatically generate over time. I'm going to upgrade this because it increases the power of the skill itself. I believe Beak Drive... oh, I thought it was Dive, not Drive. I believe it grants invincibility frames, so I'll be using that fairly often, probably. So, as you notice above HP, there's a power gauge. I'll demonstrate Beak Drive. It's like a drill attack. And power regenerates over time. Back in the original game, power was what you used whenever you attacked, and if it reached 0, you'd be stunned for a short amount of time while it regenerated. So, yeah, I was very confused when I played this game, because I was like, wait, the power was like a general key aspect of this game, of how it worked. And I was very confused when I didn't see it, and then I found out that skills exist. I think that this is actually better than the original game's power, because the original game's power was just kind of unfair, like, oh, you ran out of energy? Tough shit. I doubt this merchant has anything useful, but I'll check anyway.
I'm neutral in this war. I'm just a businessman. In this blood-stained land, the stakes are high, but the profits are higher.
I've actually quoted that multiple times in older Let's Plays, if you go back. So what have you got? The shield ring is not a bad item. Granted, it's like not going to proc very often with a 5% chance to nullify damage taken, but it is actually pretty good. Also, the Lockstone is actually quite good with item drop rate multipliers. But I'll be saving my cash, because cash is actually important in this area. We recommend that you save before proceeding. Why would you want to save? Because dying is like not very much of a threat. So here's the first actual boss.
I have a report, Your Highness. The Aesir have launched an all-out assault. They are attacking our headquarters with all their soldiers. The paladins fight valiantly, but 'tis only a matter of time till they are overrun.
Odin, I see he risks his own life with this strategy of his.
Here are your orders. Quickly! Call back the troops from the front line and attack them from behind. Use everything we have. Attack from both sides and annihilate them.
Our king is bestowed with divine grace. Prepare yourself, Queen of the Ghosts. I, King Odin's daughter Gwendolyn, shall be the one to take your life.
So, you call me a ghost. The Demon Lord's daughter is bold indeed. It seems that my reinforcements have arrived. It's about time, sorcerer.
Your Majesty, my sincerest apologies for my tardiness. Come, Belial, my faithful dragon.
Let us put this to the test. Do you still dare to speak so impudently before my mighty dragon?
Now, if you've been to my Discord before, you would know that I have repeatedly said how unfair this fight was. Raging Dragon Belial. Back in the original game, Belial had an incredibly overpowered ability, which is basically a rain of scrap metal, which is basically what then got nerfed into the attack that he just did, which was pretty much nothing. But back in the original game, Belial could rain down scrap metal, and he could basically stunlock you completely with it from 100% HP to 0. So, Belial is not really a threat at all. You can use a potion if you need to, but you can actually jump over him with, like... Oh, wow. For some reason, Belial did not block my dive attack. You can use a potion if you need to basically nullify the scrap that he rains down upon you, because that's his main source of attacking, except for his suction attack, which I think he's going to start using about now. His suction attack is definitely one of the more dangerous attacks. I'm just going to attempt to jump over him with my abilities. If you feel disoriented, just look at the map at the top right. You can see exactly what I'm planning. So there's a stagger threshold. Bosses drop items on this stagger threshold. So this is Belial's suck attack. He just inhales all of the scrap metal, like most likely hitting you with it while it returns to him. And he will consume any items lying on the ground. If you have healing potions on the ground, you can actually heal him. So if Belial drops a healing... If Belial drops a healing potion, like when he reaches a certain amount of health, like below a threshold, then he will heal himself, and Belial is burying into the ground. In the original game, he did not have this ability. There are a lot of new abilities that bosses have that they didn't have in the original. Basically, just stay away from Belial when he uses his suction attack, and you'll be fine, hopefully. He missed a piece. Nope, do not want to get hit by that. That is like a 100% guaranteed stun, so that's not good. Basically, this game against fighting bosses is basically... I said basically twice in the same sentence, how linguistic of me. It's more about you surviving than you getting damage off. Let me just use Ice Shot and attempt to freeze him. Nope, boss immune to freeze. So Beak Drive is useful because it pierces through enemies, so if you need to get to the other side of an enemy fairly quickly, you can use this. And since power regenerates when you hit enemies, and over time, it's fairly useful. Let me grab this before Belial eats it, because granted, as Belial eats an explosive potion, he will take damage. And that was a critical hit. That rarely happens. But I'm pretty sure Lockstones do amplify the fact of that happening. The factor of that happening, not the fact of that happening. Also, you can smack this stuff into Belial and deal, like, very little damage, but... it's something to take note of. Yeah, it's 6 damage. So that's, like, less than a third of, my normal attack. I might use a potion here, just to speed up this fight a bit more. But Belial is not a threat. Now that he doesn't have his scrap rain attack of overpowered bullshit, he's actually a very fair boss. A bit too easy if you ask me. But he's the first boss, what do you expect? Well, the Unicorn Knights was a bit more dangerous. That's a Toxin potion, I really want those, because Toxin is probably the most... What's the word? The most Jagan... No, not the most Jagan. Actually, no, yeah, the most Jagan potion there is. And I use that term frequently. To clarify again, a Jagan is something that is very powerful at the start of the game, but gets pretty weak like later on, but that's all it needs to be. Belial is attempting to use a dash attack, but you get behind him and you pretty much just ignore that. Make sure not to get between the Scrap and Belial, otherwise you'll of course take some damage. And the Scrap has a very high damage tick rate. Really. So yeah, you notice it's just like helmets and shields and stuff that a dragon probably would eat if he ate Knight's whole. So yeah, probably not going to go kill that Fairy Queen because you're too busy fighting a dragon. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is finished because I'll just spam Ice Shot. I could bind shortcuts to it, but I don't really care enough to do so. And level up.
King Odin, please rejoice. The enemies are retreating.
It seems that it is finally over. Have Brigand's troops hunt down any remaining enemy forces. Go, inform all our soldiers of our victory. Sound the horn, and allow them to celebrate our glory. Now, leave me.
King Odin.
Yes, there it is. The crystallization cauldron. The fairies have kept it hidden for so long. Oh. Do you see this mysterious light? Now it is finally mine. This power will grant me victory in any battle. What's happening?
Oh no! What happened to the glow? The cauldron's light has gone out.
That line was delivered so forcefully.
Do you know where I may find the king?
The king is with the crystallization cauldron.
What? Who goes there? What are you doing here?
These stupid battles all over again. Cauldron is a source of disaster. I will not allow the crystallization cauldron to be used any further. Not by you, nor by the Queen of the Fairies.
Wait!
And your planet froze on Prism for completing the chapter. What is this ability? Needle Strike. This is going to be my most frequently used skill because this, combined with the Vampiric Ring, is actually incredibly broken. You'll see me using this pretty much every single fight, and there is a more powerful version that you can get later on. Does it tell you the name of the skills? Yes, it does. Over here, Needle Storm. This is like very late game, but well, late in this chapter, and this move is even more broken. And you'll be seeing me using this over and over again, but for now, yes, I'm going to save, because that's the end of this chapter, and I'll be attempting to do one chapter per episode, which means that the later episodes will get later, and like longer and longer, because chapters, of course, get longer the further you go in this game. I originally wasn't actually going to record today, because I was up until 5 AM playing Quiplash. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, where we will be... what will we be doing in the next episode? I'll let that be explained next episode. So I'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.